Hi, I'm Helen, and today's class is a class for the back to build strength, endurance and mobility. You'll need 2 blocks for this class. If you don't have 2 blocks, you can actually use a rolled up blanket, because we're just going to be placing it underneath our spine to help open the chest in the first couple of minutes of this class. So grab a blanket and some blocks and I'll see you on the mat. So take your blocks and you're going to put them in like a T shape. So the block has 3 heights. I would not recommend this height. I'm going to go for the mid height, but my upper back is quite supple. So come and lay down. You can do this with a blanket that's rolled up like a burrito as well. Place this block down the spine, and so the bottom of it is kind of where your bra strap would be, so it's down the middle of the back, and the other block comes to support the head. So just getting an opening in the chest. You can have the legs with the feet together in butterfly pose, or they can actually be straight out, whatever feels good for you. If you want a bit more of a deeper opening, you can lower the height of the brick at the top, but it's entirely up to you. I'm just going to keep mine neutral. And then just bring the backs of the hands to the floor, palms facing upwards. Just settle here for a minute or so. Just getting this opening in the back. If your legs are in butterfly, an opening in the hips, just surrendering into the earth, tuning in as always to the breath. You can close the eyes. Just start to surrender here. Those parts of the body that are in contact with the earth, just feel the support there for you. Set aside any thoughts that you have, what you're doing for the rest of the day. Just bring your awareness to the here and now, and this time that you've allowed yourself on the mat. Notice if you're holding any tension anywhere, particularly in the jaw. Hold so much tension there we don't even realize it. Relax the tongue. And just breathe here, a couple more moments. This pose is really good to do, especially if you sit at a computer all day or you drive a lot, because it opens the body and counteracts all of that leaning forward, reaching forward. Just balances us out. Last couple of breaths here. And if you've got your legs in butterfly, just place the hands on the outside of the thighs, push them together. Come gently off of the blocks. Push them away to one side. And then stretch the body out, full body stretch. Feet in one direction, arms in the other. Really stretching as long as you can. And then take the right foot and just bring it outside of the mat. Left foot next to it. And then scoot the upper body so the right shoulder is coming towards the edge of the right side of the mat. So your body resembles a banana. So this is known as banana asana. It's probably not a real Sanskrit name. And then take hold of the right, with the right hand, take hold of the left wrist and just pull your body over a bit more. So you get a side stretch here, lateral bending in the spine, keeping the hips facing upwards. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can lift this left leg and hook it over the right ankle. So you should feel a little bit of a deeper stretch all down the left side body. Breathe into this stretch. Enjoying this bend. And then if you've got the left foot hooked, just bring it back down. Wriggle your way back to the center of the mat, and we'll go the other way. So the left foot comes outside the bottom of the left mat, right foot meets it. Wriggle the upper body, grab the right wrist with the left fingers and lean over to this side, remembering to keep the hips facing upwards. If you want, you can hook the right foot over the left ankle. Breathe here. This is great for opening up the sides of the lungs, sides of the chest, getting into the little intercostal muscles between all the ribs, getting into the right outer hip. And then back to center. Bring the right knee into the chest. Keep the left leg long. And then take hold of the left knee, right knee with the left hand, and just pull this over to the left, keeping both shoulders on the floor. So this is a spinal twist. Right arm can extend out to the side. You can have it straight or in a cactus. I like the cactus because I feel it gets into my shoulder a little bit more. Turn the head to face to the right if it feels good. And allow this right knee to drift over to the left. So it may or may not touch. Just breathe here. So when we do a spinal twist with a straight leg, it just enables a little bit of a more twist in the spine. So the lumbar spine, the lower spine doesn't twist. The twist comes from the mid to the upper back. As we move up the spine is able to twist more. So the higher up, the greater the twist. You think about your neck, the cervical spine, that's when you get the greatest twist. And inhale, center. Release the right leg down, and we'll do the other side. So left knee comes in. Right hand on the outside of the left knee, pull over to the right. Keep both shoulders on the floor. Cactus is left arm, or stretch it out. Maybe turn to face the left if it feels good. And just surrender here. Feeling this stretch all in the left outer hip. Breathing deeply. And inhale back to center. One more long body stretch. Slowly make your way up to seated. So we'll do some rounds of cat-cow after I've readjusted. So hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You can have the toes tucked or just release the feet, whatever feels good for you. This core is engaged. Equal weight in the hands and the knees. And on an inhale, the belly dips, the head lifts, chest comes through the gates of the arms. And as you exhale, reverse the movement around, bringing the head down, feeling that stretch between the shoulder blades. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reverse. So just moving the spine here through flexion and extension. In time with the breath. One more of these. And then return to normal neutral, not normal. And just bring the seat back to the heels into a child's pose. So we move through a couple of child to cobras. On an inhale, we come up to cat, and then lower the hips, bend the elbows, reverse cobra, forehead to the floor, and then inhale, lift from the chest and the spine. We come back up through cat, back to child. Again, inhale cat, descend the hips, really activate the spine here, and don't use your arms to bear the weight of the body. Feel it coming from the back, and then back. One more, inhale forward, down, lift from the spine, back to child, and then come up, back to hands and knees. So we move through bird dog. So this is really great for strengthening the spine. And when we're strengthening the spine, it's important for it to be in neutral when we're bearing a load. So take the right leg, and all you're going to do is push it back, and it will lift off the floor. So we're not lifting up in extension. We're just, if you think of the movement, pushing it back, keeping it neutral. And then the left hand will come forward and take a fist and hold here for 10 seconds. So building endurance here. And then release down, sweep the floor. And again. Keeping the head in line with the neck, core is engaged, back leg straight and strong, and then release down, and then last one. So imagine the leg is pushing backwards rather than lifting, and that keeps the spine neutral. And then release down, and we'll do the other side. Ground the left hand underneath the left shoulder. Imagine you're pushing this left leg just straight back, and then the right arm comes forward in a fist, holding here 10 seconds. So you shouldn't have any extension in the back here, it should just be neutral. And then sweep the floor for some relief, and then come back. And then back down. Last one. So this can be quite intense. And then come back down and just sit on the heels, roll out the wrists. So sometimes when we do that, when we do a spinal balance, we sort of are flinging the arm and the leg up like this. It's much, and I have been guilty of teaching that in the past. It's much healthier to keep the spine neutral, and we're getting the same strength building, but it's much healthier for the spine. So come on to the side, and we'll work on the side body. So when we think of the spine, we should think of the front and the back of the body. So it's important to strengthen not just the back muscles, but the side muscles and the core as well, because these all support us as we stand as bipeds. So come down onto the hip. You're going to bend the knees. Shoulder is directly above the elbow, hand to hip. I want you to think of this as a squat. So you're in like a squat shape, but you're on the floor. And here we're keeping the spine neutral. On an inhale, you're going to push the hips forward as if you imagine you were standing and you were doing a squat. And this right arm will come above the head and flex the hand. Hold here 10 seconds. Trying to keep the head in line with the neck. Really engaging these side muscles here, and then come back down. Again. Keeping that left shoulder plugged in the socket. Pushing the hips forward. Engage in the obliques. And we come back down. And again. And then come back down. So we'll move on to one that involves a little bit more strength, but it's still for the obliques, and we're still going to stay on this side. So first of all, we'll come into forearm plank. So the thing you have to be careful of in these forearm planks is the elbows splay out. You want to keep them parallel, so this involves some strength and engagement in the shoulders. The feet are going to be hip distance apart. This left elbow will rotate in, right hand comes to right hip, and then think of this body all in one long line, and you're going to twist, rolling over the feet. So you're in this side plank. Hold here 10 seconds. If this is too much, you can do the previous one again, like the kneeling squat. Really engage in here, and then we come back down, and then again. So really rotate the whole body. No, don't just rotate from the waist. Hold here. So again, this keeps the spine neutral, and then back down. One more of these. Remember to breathe. I'm breathing quite heavily now. And come back down and just release down. Just go into a little sphinx. Allow your breathing to return to neutral, normal, regular. What's normal, huh? And then we'll do the other side. So starting with those side squats. I don't really know how to describe them. They are kind of like a squat. Elbow underneath shoulder. Hips are stacked. On an inhale, you're going to push the hips forward. Engage in here. Left arm comes up. Push the heel of the hand away so this gets into the little stretch in the outside of the shoulder. 10 seconds. And come back down. We go up again. Come back down. Last one. Come back down. So you can do that again, or we move into the side plank version. So come into the dolphin plank. This right arm is going to rotate inwards. Left hand to left hip, and then rolling as one unit to the side. 10 seconds. Might be easier to think of 3 breaths. Inhaling for 1.5 seconds and exhaling for 1.5. That adds up to 9. And then just add another one on the end. Then back down. We come up again. Come back down. Last one. Lift. And then come back down and release to the floor. And just come into Sphinx here for a moment. Allow breathing to return to normal. And then we'll come back up. So we'll work on the front of the spine, the front body. So come into downward facing dog. Hands can be shoulder width apart. It may feel better for you if they're wider. Widen the upper back. You can have the knees bent, sit bones to the sky, and lengthen the spine. On an inhale, right leg lifts to the sky. As you exhale, we're going to rock forward to plank and bring this knee into the chest. Hold here for 5 breaths. 1, 2. Really pull that knee in, rounding the upper spine. 3.5, 4, 5. Back to downward facing dog. Again, knee to chest, same knee. Hold for 5. Grounding down into those hands. Really protracting the shoulder blades. Activating the core to bring this knee in. And then back up. One more. Knee to chest. You can do it. Just 3 more seconds. Back to downward facing dog. Release the foot. Come down, child's pose. Roll out the wrists. We'll do the second side. Come back up. Plant the hands. Sit bones to the sky. Inhale, left leg up. Knee to chest. Inhale, back up. Knee to chest. Really engaging the core. One more deep breath. And then back up. Last set of 5 breaths. And then inhale, back up. Foot comes down. Knees come down, child. Again, roll out the wrists. So we'll come up to kneeling and work on a little bit of mobilisation of the spine. So we've done a bit of strengthening. When we strengthen the spine, we keep it neutral. And when we're not bearing a load, that's when it's safe to mobilise the spine. So bring the right foot forward, knee directly underneath the ankle. So you've got a right angle here. You have a right angle with the back leg. You can tuck these toes under for a little bit of stability. Start to engage the core, hug into the midline. Pull this right hip back and the left one forward, and that scissoring action gives you a lot of stability because this is a little bit of a balance. You're going to inhale the arms up to the sky and then tip over to the right. So if you've got a block, you can bring the hand down to the block. If you've got really long arms, you might be able to reach the floor. I don't really have that long arms. Find the height that's good for you and settle into this side stretch. So really feeling it all down the left side body. Breathe here, 5 breaths. Then inhale, come back up. We'll do one more, lean over. Maybe you can get a little bit deeper in this time. As we start to settle in these poses and breathe, the body starts to open more. And then inhale, come back up. So moving on from here, if you've got a block, it is very handy for this, and as I say, unless you've got very long arms. So keeping the legs in the same position, gonna lean over, place the hand on the block, and lean over into a full, I'm gonna put this up a height, into this side stretch here. So this is getting in a bit deeper into the side. We're going to do some spiraling. So from here, as you exhale, you're going to fold the upper body down, bringing the left fingertips towards the floor, and as you inhale, open up to the sky. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. So as you lift and come back, you may only come back a few degrees. Exhale down, but make these mindful movements. It's not a competition to get as deep as you can. Last one. And then come back up and release. Just come off the knees, sit down. I forgot to say, if you find this hard on the knees, fold your mats over. I actually have 3 mats because my knees are quite sensitive. Now I'm in my old age. And then come up and we'll do the other side. So I'll face this way. So the right foot will come forward and on the left knee. No, we did that last time. Left foot comes forward. Or on the right knee. Remember, pull this hip back, engage this midline. Arms come up. And first of all, we'll just come into this side stretch. So we're getting used to the body opening to the side. So the hand can dangle, but it's also nice for it to touch something. Gives us a point of reference. And when the body is supported in this way, it helps it release more because it knows it's safe and there's stability there. And it allows the muscles and the joint capsules to release a bit deeper. Inhale, come back up. Exhale over again. So you may find that one side is more open than the other. Just go to the limit that feels good for you. Deep breaths. And then inhale, come back up. So we move into that spiral movement. So the hand comes down onto the block. Just going to move over a little bit here. Inhale up and then right arm comes over. So we'll stay here for a moment. So it's a bit deeper into the side stretch. As you exhale, the body comes down. Then inhale, we open up to the back body. Exhale down. Inhale, open. Exhale down. So imagine you're like closing the body down here as you come forward, and then you're opening. The movement coming from the upper back, closing down. Inhale, open. One more of these, closing it down. Inhale, open. And then return to neutral. Come off the knees. Just come into a child's pose briefly. Get the spine back on the neutral plane. Reconnect with the breath, how you're feeling. Whenever we do any movements of the spine, they're usually really energizing, so you may suddenly feel a little bit elated. Back bends and are really good for helping to lift your mood. So if you're ever feeling a little bit down, do a back bend. Now we'll move into one of my favorite poses, Molasse and a Garland pose. So this is just so great for the lower back and the hips. I've said many times I used to hate this pose because it just was purgatory, but the more I've done it, the more open my body's become and the more I love it. So bring the feet a little wider than hip distance. So depending on the openness of your hips, depends on how wide they are. Some people can do Molasana with their heels together. I cannot do that. Bring the palms to the chest. Knees are facing the same direction as the feet, and we'll sit down into the hips. Now, if this is out of the question, you may find that you're up here. If you have a block and you are here like this, rather than burn out your thighs, you can sit on the block. So you can sit on it, whatever level feels good for you. If you are all the way down but your heels are lifted, you can just fold the mat under a couple of times or put a blanket, something there to give yourself stability in the pose. So whatever version you're in, come into it. Shoulders are in between the knees, palms to the chest, lengthen the spine, push the elbows into the knees and vice versa, really open in the hips, lift the head and chest, breathe here. So take 5 deep breaths starting from now, whatever version you're in. If you're finding this challenging, just focus on those breaths. And if it is challenging, that's good, because when you learn to deal with challenging poses in your yoga practice, it can give you tools to deal with challenging things in real life. And bring the seat down. Release the legs. Shake them out. We'll move into bridge pose, just to open up the front of the body here. So we'll just get a bit of release in the front of the hips. So plant the feet directly underneath the knees. Just reach down. You should be able to just touch the backs of the heels, grounding into the shoulders and the upper arms. On an inhale, pelvis lifts. Try and imagine the knees are going forward towards the front of the mat. So you're getting this lengthening here in the hip flexors and the psoas. The psoas muscles links the leg bones all through the hip here and to the back of the spine. They connect the upper body to the lower body. They really are an intuitive muscle. They help curl us up into a little ball when we're protecting ourselves, and they're also activated in the fight or flight response, helping us run away from those saber-toothed tigers that are coming to get us. And then exhale, release down. Before we move into final relaxation, we just do one last twist of the spine. So bring the knees up into tabletop, knees directly above the hips. Just allow them to fall over to the right. Arms can be wherever they feel good to be. Briefly look over to the left if it's good on your neck. Then inhale back to center. Exhale over to the right. Left. Looking to the right. Inhale back to center. Give yourself one last little squeeze. Maybe rotate the knees in one direction, massaging out the sacrum, and then the other. And then one at a time, release the legs out to the floor into Shavasana. Allow the feet to flop open. Palms face the sky. Shoulders are tucked underneath the back. Back of the neck is long with the chin slightly tucked. Release every muscle in your body. Allow it to just melt into the earth. Eyes are closed. Focus is now on your internal landscape. Easy breathing and relax here. When you're practicing yoga at home, it's so tempting and easy to forget about Shavasana. It really is one of the most important points of the class. After all that stretching, elongation, strengthening, twisting, this time in Shavasana just allows our body to move back to its pre-class state. But hopefully a little more open and free. It's much more healthy to put your body through stress and movement than it is to just lay on the settee watching Netflix. So if you spend time for yourself to down the mat, working on your back strength and mobility, give yourself a pat on the back. It should feel really good. We deserve to feel good and healthy in our bodies, and it's up to us to do that for ourselves. Start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe full body stretch, interlacing the fingers. And bring the knees in one by one. Give yourself a little squeeze and a hug. Allow the body to fall over to your favorite side. Come into fetal position. Last moment or so here. And then keeping the eyes closed, push yourself up to a comfortable seated position on the mat. Legs can come into whatever position feels good, maybe kneeling, cross-legged, lotus if it's in your practice. Whatever position you're in, the spine is nice and straight. Bring the palms to the chest, connecting with the heart. Shoulders are relaxed and down, chin parallel to the floor. Take a deep inhale in. Exhale through the mouth. Then bring the thumbs up to the third eye for clarity of thought. Fingertips to the lips for clarity in your communications. And then bring the prayer back to the heart. Sending out all these good vibes that you've generated in class to everyone all around the world. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Hope you enjoyed that class for the back. It's really important that we look after our spines. You may have heard the phrase, you're only as young as your spine is flexible. So just keep taking care of yourself. Best way to do it, in my humble opinion, is in a yoga class. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.